I'm starting to document some topics for podcast. And one of the ones that I do want to talk about is probably the one that gets me often the most irked. Is that a word that I can use? Sure. And that is the term, we have to tear down the silos. Like nothing kind of drives me up the bend as fast as that statement does. And you know what? I certainly subscribe to it for a lot of years. Working in the I guess if you will, the corporate world. And there was often in a, if you will, a matrix kind of environment, work environment, where there were multiple locations, multiple kind of departments and all of that. And so various reporting structures. And so, I would often hear this phrase, like, we have to tear down the silos. And often what it's meant, really, I think, is that what they're really wanting to say is that, we need to figure out a way to have people to collaborate together, because everybody's kind of like working in their own spot, like kind of right in their own area. And I realize as I'm talking, you may not see me do these animated gestures with my hands. So apologies for there, but as you can imagine what a silo may look like, it's the vertical tubes often seen on a farm. They are perhaps made out of like a galvanized steel. You've probably seen many of them. There are bunker silos, so they are long as well, as you can see the vertical ones. So, all right, so we often hear about this, and the thing is that, as I've just described, those silos actually have a purpose. Like, they really have an intention to do something. And, that is to, as I refer to it as, is maintaining the integrity of the contents that are inside of it. And so if we start tearing them down, and I can tell you, I have been on a farm where one has fallen down with contents inside of it, and it's a mess. So once I kind of started thinking about that, I was like, wait a minute. So let's just back this up a little bit, and let me have you perhaps think about this in a different way. So sometimes people don't, perhaps they've not been around a farm environment, and so they may not truly understand what a silo is, or its purpose. So let's just break it down into something that I would expect that almost every one of you has seen or have in your own home. So go to your cupboard that you keep your food pantry staples items in. Go there and open up the cupboard door and tell me what you see. Do you see canned goods, boxed goods, bags of items? Those are all miniature silos. They're all containing the one product that is inside of it. So let me ask you this. If you want to tear down the silo, how are you going to store all those items inside of your cupboard? Right? So if you start now, you no longer have containment walls to hold up items. So now you've got all of your soup and all of your flour and all of your cereal, just put it all in the cupboard. How is that looking, right? It's a big mess. So when we think about what the contents of a silo are, they are maintaining that integrity of like they're the pure, like the purity of the item that's inside of it. What I think that people are really trying to describe, what they think that they really want, is that collaboration effort between multiple departments. So think about this now in your own home. If you are going to cook something for a meal, you want something to eat, you, assuming that you do some of your own cooking, even if it's making cereal, you are the person responsible to know the recipe, right? Know how many ingredients of which kinds you're going to mix together to make a meal. Like the contents of a silo on a farm, a farmer would be responsible for mixing the various different feed sources for the different cattle, perhaps, or the different horses, or the different pigs or chickens, or whatever it is that they're feeding. Also, it can also be that they need it today for milk production, but tomorrow it's needed to be mixed for the young cattle that are coming along. So tomorrow's recipe is going to be different than today's recipe. Just like in your home and in the meal that you prepare, your recipes may vary. Therefore, the mixing of those ingredients will vary. Another really good reason for a silo is also for in another area, which would be in another area of agriculture, or which would be containment, for example, of toxic products or products that shouldn't be mixed together right away, or when they are mixed together, they kind of, you have to be careful how they're mixed. So another example of this is perhaps in your bathroom underneath your sink. You may have a bleach product, which you can't mix with a detergent, an ammonia type product, right? Because that will make a deadly gas. And so silos, jugs are very important because you don't want those to mix together. And so now in that case, I'm talking about toxic kind of chemicals that can be bad. And so we think about, well, maybe we don't, what other environments in our corporate worlds do we want to make sure that departments don't mix? And I don't mean it from toxic, but there might really be reasons why you would have a perhaps like a HR department that may keep their confidential information separate from the other areas of the business. That doesn't mean that those folks, those people that work in those departments, some elements of their job may certainly mingle with other areas of the job. Or so in HR, as an example, I'm just using it as an example, they may be also there to help you with hiring and or how to do professional development and other types of activities. They may also have very confidential information too that they need to maintain. So there's definitely a reason to keep some of those isolated. So the next time that you're thinking about that statement in your company, in your place of business, you want to tear down the silos, just go home and open the cupboard. Take a look and tell me how that's going to look inside there when you do that. If you don't really have a plan about actually how you're going to mix all that stuff together. The other great reason also to have a silo or having a space, a containment with walls, is that you can actually store more in that area that actually has than if it's just kind of piling on. And, like that, a bit of math doesn't take very long to realize, like when you've gotten, and let me use another example, some sand and gravel. So you can only pile that so high, and after a while, like that, the tip of it gets really tall, but the bottom keeps expanding further and further wider, but you can't keep going straight up. And so it starts to take up more footage on the bottom, like the area surface that it's taking up takes up more space. However, if it had walls, that same volume could go up and it wouldn't necessarily take up the square footage on the ground. So another reason as well to think about that as you think about that topic. And another area where you see silos are apartment buildings, high rises, right? What do you think those are? A whole bunch of silos containing people and things inside of there. And because of the current population complexities, it's easier to go up, right? Go up to put more in than it is to go out. We know that we don't want to see those tore down, right? So those can definitely have negative impacts on situations. All right, so that kind of went a little bit. But I think you get the idea of what I'm trying to say. So the next time that you think about or want to say, we just need to tear down the silos, really think about it. Your job is to mix the ingredients, to cook the meal. You need to know the recipe. Your job actually is to figure out a way to have those different departments collaborate together and work together. That is what's missing in a lot of the areas that I see right now, is that there isn't someone who's able to collaborate and know and understand the exact contents of each of those silos, like really knowing what is inside, right? Like, you need to be a chemist to know how to mix certain things together. You need to be a baker to know how to mix different ingredients to make a really great cake. You need to be a really good manager and understand all of those areas that are under your umbrella and how they work, so that you can mix the ingredients, so that you can collaborate the people. So I hope that this has been helpful for you, and let me know what you think. Till next time, be awesome.